celebrating the power of possibility.
My name is Casey Wheeless, and I believe anything is possible.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. My guest today is the one and only Casey Wheeless. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
We see you. We love you. Now we get to know you. Thank you for being on the broadcast.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Where does your story start?
Where does it start?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, like, how far back do you want to go?
All the way back. Let's go all the way back.
I'm originally from Texas. My family's from Texas. I lived there for a little while and then moved to Ohio when I was in elementary school. Went to high school there and then went to college in Kentucky, worked there at a station for a while, and then moved to Tennessee, and I've been here for 12, 13 years now.
Big family?
I've got one sister, big extended family, and they all live in Texas.
What was it like growing up in Texas, and what were your early interests?
Yeah, so I think people always think that newscasters, they were doing the news when they were little. For me, I just kind of like talking to people all the time. My mom said that when I would take us to the pool, I would be in floaties and I would just be talking to strangers all the time. And she'd have to go find me. And, growing up, I never knew for sure what I wanted to do. And then when I got to college, an opportunity presented itself to work at the television station. And that's when I really realized, I like telling stories and I like talking to people and telling their stories.
What was it and what is it about talking to people and telling stories? I know for me, I like to know how things work. Mm-hmm. I like to know, I'm curious. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is that part of the spark for you? Curiosity?
Absolutely. Curiosity, wanting to know what's going on, wanting to be able to tell people what's going on. They say journalists they know a little about a lot. Mm-hmm. Because you have to become kind of an expert on whatever topic you're talking about. And it's fascinating to me. I'm probably overuse Google all the time when I'm not at work. If I'm watching something, want to figure out what it is, and then that kind of just sparks the interest into your next story or your next thing that you want to do.
So you're in college, though, when you go, wait a minute, I think I want to do, there's a difference in being interested mm-hmm. and then making the decision that this is what I want to do. I
went to college knowing that I wanted to get a degree, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't good at math, so I knew that I wasn't going to go down that route, but I enjoyed writing. So I started interning at the newspaper there to kind of get some experience. And then when I stepped into the television station, I was like, oh, wow, you get to use video to tell these stories. And you get to use a whole nother medium that adds sound and interviews. And that really is what sparked my interest.
Were you a reader as a child? Did you read stories or did you consume stories?
I remember there was a newscast that my school did. I wasn't a part of it, but I remember being like, oh man, that's really cool that they do that. And then getting into high school, you also had more opportunities to do that. And I never was into the theater part of things,
right.
Being on stage. It was more so the storytelling that I enjoyed. I loved English class. I loved writing. I loved that part of it.
What'd you love about writing?
I just love that it's an outlet, that you can be creative with it. But I learned early on that I wasn't gonna be making up stories, that I was better at telling people stories. And I was better at listening to these people. And just, people have stories to tell.
Oh boy, do they have stories.
Yeah.
What have you learned about storytelling? How do you tell a story?
Every story's different. I think a lot of times you try to, you have, okay, this is how I'm gonna tell a story, your pyramid or, whatever you learn, but every story's different. So you have to use the environment that you're in to look on how you're gonna tell that story and then the person's story too.
This is one of the things I've observed about storytelling is I can do all my homework. Like you said, you can have a framework. Mm-hmm. You can believe that a story has a beginning, a middle, and end. The stories come from being present. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you don't know what to ask.
That's true.
I've had so many moments on set where a person wants to tell me a different story than I think is there.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
if I'll just listen. Imagine that. They'll tell you their story. And have you found that to be true too?
Absolutely. Listening is the key point to it. Getting these people in, because you put a camera in their face and it's uncomfortable, but you get them in a comfortable situation, much like you do, where you have a conversation with them, and all of a sudden you're getting a story, parts of the story that maybe you didn't know, that you're like, oh wow, this is really powerful.
Okay, tell me that part of your story then. Isn't that pretty good? That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That is good. You know, I didn't really know what my story was until recently.
Tell me.
Well, currently pregnant with twins. The process to get there was something that I never thought I would experience.
Tell me about it.
My husband and I, we got married in 2019. Then we thought we'd get pregnant, we'd have a family, and that's how it works, right? It's not how it worked for us. We went several years with no luck. Finally got him.
How did that make you feel?
Like a failure. What's wrong with me? Is it me? Is it him? What's going on? Why is this happening?
Let's pause there for just a second. That statement, what's wrong with me? The reason why that grabs me so much is when you have a public-facing career, you have to be on while feeling all of that, and it intensifies that feeling because people look at you and they think you got the cat by the tail. They think you got it all together. They can't imagine you feeling that.
Right. For years.
For years.
For years. And still, there's still days that you get scared or you don't know or that you still have to go on. There were a couple days that I couldn't go on. There were a couple days that I got a phone call at 3 p.m. with bad news, tried to pull myself together. And I couldn't. And I told my co-anchor, Brittany, I can't do it today. And but that was only a couple times because you have to keep going. You can't do that every time.
Absolutely. But
yeah, there were times, but then it became a point to where I wanted to be on air because I didn't have to think about it, right? Like you got rid of, let's put this away for a minute. Let's go on air so I don't have to worry about it.
Possibility powered by Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Now you can listen while you're on the go with Anything is Possible, the podcast. You're feeling what's wrong with me, what's wrong with him, what's wrong with us. What had to happen next?
We ended up seeing a fertility specialist, and they found that it was all me. Of course, my husband's test all came back wonderful, that I had a blocked tube. I had the eggs of someone who was 10 years older than me. My clock was running out, and I had no idea. I had no other symptoms to make me think this. They looked at me, they said, you don't have a lot of time. Your age is not your friend. And I'm thinking, what? All my friends are my age, in their 30s, having kids. What do you mean? So we went to see another fertility specialist, and we were getting ready to start the IVF process when miraculously we got pregnant on our own. But we found out at 8 weeks after getting a heartbeat that heartbeat stopped, and we lost that baby. And we thought it was our miracle baby.
So now, Casey.
Yeah.
Casey.
After years of trying, we do it on our own. We don't need help.
So how are you feeling then?
Heartbroken, confused, feeling like it took this long for this one baby. Will this ever happen for us? At that point, I thought it might not ever happen for us.
You sit before us today pregnant with twins.
Yep.
Anything is possible. Right?
Anything is possible.
So how do we get here?
So we had a great doctor who was very faith-based, which gave us so much comfort. And for the first time in my life, I had to let go. This was not up to me. This was God's journey,
Are you
his plan.
Are you a good letter goer?
No, I'm a horrible letter goer. Absolutely not. But that was the only thing that I could do. We were doing everything else on our end. We were doing all the medicine, all the, the diet, all the things. There was nothing else that I could do. This was his plan. So we get ready to start the IVF process again. Our doctor, we had a couple conversations with our pastor to make sure like this is the route that we should go, that we are following our faith, and that this is right for us. And it happens again. We get pregnant again on our own. But we lose that one again. Not as far. The first one was about 9 weeks. This one was only about 4 weeks. So they call it a biochemical. What on earth is going on? But for some reason, this time I felt more determined than I felt hopeless. I said, God's giving me these signs. Why would he keep giving me these opportunities I was confused, but I felt like it was going to happen.
Your faith is growing.
It's growing. So we then give it a few months, let my body heal, decide to go through the IVF process with some of the conditions I had. They said, we're not sure if we'll get any eggs. Hopefully we will. We ended up getting a couple, and then we got two good embryos that were viable. And the doctor said that we can transfer 2 of them. With your history, you have a less than 10% chance of multiples, but 2 will help 1. So your odds are better. We said, okay, let's do it. And here I am today, and both of them stuck.
How far along are you?
22 weeks today. Thank you.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. But it wasn't up to me. We had to leave. My husband has been so wonderful through this whole process, but he's had to grow his faith too, because neither of us have been through anything like this.
Faith means you try, right? Now this concept of the 3 tries. The first one is to try. The second one is to try again. The third one is to try until.
That's perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
You get to that point where you're like, I'm all in on this. What has that done for you?
That you just perfectly defined it. I mean, my faith is stronger than it's ever been. I try to take, I think a lot of people would say, why did we have to go through that? Why did we have to go through all that pain? But in a way, I'm grateful for it, because it's helped me grow. It's helped my husband and I's relationship grow closer than we thought we ever could be. And it's been a blessing in a way, which I know is weird to say.
No, it's not. That is not weird to say. I think that's the thing that I am learning.
Yeah.
Let me just share something with you. This is odd that I'm going to share this with you, but this is what I want to share. I write music every day. 365 days a year. At some point, I'm stopping and I'm going to write some music. And part of my process is when there's nothing to write, I write anyway, right? Just to keep the creative portal open.
Yeah.
And here's what I do. Yesterday was one of those days. Put my hand on the keyboard on the piano, and I literally say to God, I got nothing. Not only do I have nothing, I don't even want to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm running around saying I write every day, so now I got to write every day, right? 3 notes fall under my fingers. And my response always is, oh, that's what we're doing today? And guys are like, those 3 notes are the notes I've given you today. Make something out of it. And I go, okay. What I have found, I've written some of the most incredible pieces to me. I don't share much of this with the world.
Yeah.
When there's no resistance, when here's the day, these are the notes. There are 12 notes on the piano, there are 24 hours in the day, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. It's all a matter of arrangement. It's how you put them together. But when I show up without resistance, when I just go, this is what we're doing? Okay. And it seems like my resolve is different because God has said, I remember one day I was talking to God and I was just like, I am not inspired at all. And God talked back to me. He calls me little buddy. He said, little buddy, that's not your job.
Yeah.
Inspiration's not your job. He said, your job is desperation and perspiration. My job is inspiration. You show up desperate. You show up ready to work. I'll show up with the miracles and the inspiration.
Wow.
That's on me.
Yeah.
And it seemed like you got desperate.
Desperate.
And you decided to do the work. Like, we're going to keep trying. That try until. And
yeah. And then here we are. That's
does
exactly
that make sense?
Absolutely. Because we had a fork in the road. Do we give up?
Yeah, that one.
Or do we keep going?
That part.
And I just stopped. I just let go.
Now, take us with you with Anything is Possible, the podcast. Stream new episodes weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
So what has that done for you? Now, here's what pain has done for me is it recalibrated my sensibilities. One, I'm a much more compassionate person because of what I've been through. Two, I can smell a story, just like right now.
Definitely.
Right? We could have talked about ESPNU and which we'll get to all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a story there, and I have compassion. What has it done for you?
I think compassion, definitely. It's also caused me to slow down a little bit. I will be doing a million things at one time, and it's caused me to be like, hold on a second. Let's give equal amount of time to each task that I'm doing. It's made me mentally stronger, but physically stronger. The first round, because IVF, you have to do all the shots. The first round was on election night. And you have to give them in between a certain time frame. So I was doing the election night coverage, running home, had to give myself a shot real quick,
Wow.
and then run back to the studio.
Wow.
So it really makes you think, okay, wait, I'm a little tougher than I thought.
The revelation of your expanded capacity, you wouldn't have known without it being pressed.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, talk about the possibility of even deeper love, because you said your marriage relationship has been strengthened because of the pain. Pain creates possibilities, right?
Yeah, and you see your partner in a vulnerable state, and I think he saw me in a vulnerable state, and you gain a new appreciation for them that you didn't know was there. He's always been a wonderful husband, someone that I've always leaned on, but I needed him in a way that I couldn't even express, and he was there. And it's hard to put into words what that's like until you go through something like this. And it was equally both of us going through it at the same time, the pain that we were experiencing. And so there were moments that I would need him to be tough for me, but then there were moments that it was his turn to be vulnerable and I needed to be tough for him. And to find that balance, we have now been able to take in other parts of our relationship, which has been incredible.
I love that. I love what happens if you have somebody that truly loves you and that shows up for you. There are a couple of things that become new possibilities. My greatest fear used to be that my vulnerabilities, or if somebody saw my weakness, it would run them away.
Yeah.
Right? Or that deep down inside, I don't know if you're strong enough for the weak part of me.
Yeah.
And when you have these moments of crisis, you get to confirm both of those things. One, wait a minute, you're a pretty tough old dude. I like. Number two, you're not going to hold it against me that I'm superhuman.
Right. Yeah. When we were in the ultrasound room with the first pregnancy, and we had graduated from our fertility clinic, we were at our OB, and the ultrasound tech got quiet and was like, I can't find a heartbeat. And I immediately lost it. And my husband in that moment was a rock and was strong. And then he was a rock for several days after, until finally it was his turn to grieve. But he was doing that for me because he knew that I needed that in that moment, until I finally came out of it and I was like, hold on a second, this is affecting both of us. So exactly what you mean. And it was the side, like, he was tough enough to handle that side of me, but I had to be tough enough to handle that side of him too.
That's a beautiful story of possibility. It really is. How do you feed your faith?
I pray. I listen. There's a lot of really good Christian music out there that I have always listened to.
You got a current song that's like your...
You know, Brandon Lake's Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Oh, man.
It's so good. It's a good workout song too. Definitely. But that was a big one that I held on to. But that was something I wouldn't always go, you know, I'd go for country or maybe like some pop music or something. But now that's my go-to, and it clears your mind and it gets you, just changes your mood. I journal a lot now, which I never did before, which is strange for a writer.
Storyteller.
Yeah, but so that's been wonderful. And it's not always journaling about that specific journey. It's just what the day was like, or, you know, what's going on. And I've been journaling, writing to the babies to let them know what's going on. So hopefully one day they'll be able to have that to look back on.
So you're writing for the babies.
Yeah, I'll let them know what's going on. In the beginning, you know, the first couple weeks we were just pretty nervous, and so I would write to them what I was nervous about.
Can you feel them?
I can feel them right now. Yeah, they move now.
Do you know gender already?
Yeah, a boy and a girl.
And do you have names?
We have not agreed on names yet, but we have a few that we're thinking might be contenders.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just to see you smile like that, and for you to trust us with this part of your story, and the possibility that comes out of it. That's special. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
And thanks for being a great example that anything is possible.
Anything. Thank you so much, Hal.